And speaking of people that you get sick of and you wish they would disappear from television, the Boozer versus Kyle O'Reilly was next. And again, big fan of Kyle O'Reilly since he was just a teenage young fellow. Different style, works hard, genuine kind of guy. Has been made meaningless here. This match was going to be as good as Dick the Boozer can be because Kyle is talented. But I can't really stomach watching any more of Moxley than I have to because of the fakery and the same old shit. So they did about 10 minutes and they went back and forth and O'Reilly got an ankle lock. And Moxley, trying to get away from it, struggling to get away from it, reached up and knocked out the referee. As the announcer said, so he doesn't have to tap out again. What the fuck? This is a guy, he didn't sell any major superstar in this company for fucking 2 years. And now, when Kyle O'Reilly gets an ankle lock, his only alternative is to knock the referee out and get disqualified. But here's another problem. Tony has no consistency in the logic that doesn't exist in his universe he's created. And we've talked about this before, but there has to be a somewhat standard level of response to shit from show to show, or elsewise it glaringly makes things look goofy. In this case, Moxley punches the referee 8 seconds, I counted. After the referee hit the mat, all 4 of the other referees in the company were in the ring and waving their arms and fucking yelling.
Yeah, how about that?
Like they were standing there waiting to get their cue, which they were. And then they run in. We've had people attempt to murder other people. We've had flamethrowers and bleach pouring and fucking lighter fluid and Molotov cocktails. But one referee gets punched and the entire staff is in the ring within seconds. And then the faces and heel partners all hit the ring and they have a brief skirmish and they went to the break. But it's just because Tony thought of this spot, this thing to do, or somebody else thought of it. And let's do it just this way. And nobody is either there to say or will be listened to. This doesn't make any sense compared to the way we do it every other time and every other show. Why can't we get consistency? But it's just a break spot to them. And then when we come back from the break, hey, I'll let you in a second, but it was another 6-man tag with the heel partners against the babyface partners that had just done the run-in. And
that's happened a few times recently where everyone who ran in just happened to be in the next match.
So whatever you were going to say, but tell me why they can't just have some consistency in. It's the same thing with this certain type of title match means nobody can be at ringside and nobody can interfere, so they don't. Well, in that case, dumb fucks, you've just shown the fans that if you say nobody can interfere, then they can't. So the next time that the heels interfere and fuck up the main event of your pay-per-view, the fans are mad at you.
3 reasons why you should come with us to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints this Sunday. Number 1, you'll connect with people
who are mad at you. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to ask you, do you think this does anything to help Kyle O'Reilly? Because he didn't beat Jon Moxley, but Jon Moxley appeared to think that he was about to be beat or have to tap out. So he did something he's never done before, just hit the referee, knowing it's a disqualification.
It doesn't help Kyle because nobody's going to remember it next week or the week after. On a program without constant interference and constant running in and constant chaos of all kinds, if you take a guy and give him a concerted, consistent push, he might win this week on TV, next week You might show brief footage of the victory and he might speak. The next week, he might speak again or he might wrestle again, but it might be talking about the upcoming pay-per-view, which is the first time he's on pay-per-view, where he's going to win in a middle card match. And over a period of time, you've exposed him speaking and working and being talked about and being involved in a bigger match. That's the way you get somebody over. You don't just do one finish in one fucking match and nobody remembers it 3 days later. Speaking of not remembering this 3 days later, so they got a 6-man tag. Briscoe and Roderick Strong and Pockets against Claudio and Danny Garcia and Wheeler Useless. And this went almost 15 minutes. And I could tell by fast forward that the mascot still sticks his hands in his pockets and his opponents still look like complete idiots trying to stooge for him and make it palatable. But finally, after about, like I said, 15 minutes, Mark Briscoe beats Wheeler Useless with the Jade Driller, which looks great. What a finish, right? Boom, 1, 2, 3. But then Pac comes in and starts kicking his shit out of Mark. But then Ishii comes in. And Ishii hit Pac with 13 forearms. And Pac went to one knee. How excited. God damn, when the babyface comes in and make a save, the heels are supposed to fly. They're supposed to bump. They're supposed to get people up. Then Schaefer nut-shotted Ishii, but Kyle O'Reilly came back in, but they stopped him. And Claudio was going to pick Pockets up and throw him on the announce desk the way that he did to Darby, but Darby hit the ring and hit Claudio a couple times with a baseball bat. And the heels finally ran off. So, Brian, now do you...
That's Sting's bat.
Well, of course it is. Darby's homeless. He can't afford a bat. He stole it from his elder.
Sting gave it to him. What stole the bat? Sting gave it to him.
But the point being, do you remember what the finish was of Moxley and O'Reilly after you've just seen all this shit over the last 15 minutes?
I do, but I remember more that Moxley hit the referee than I do who he was trying to get away from her.
Yeah.
Was in the match with. It's more about the Moxley doing it to the referee than Kyle O'Reilly almost beat Moxley.
Well, yeah, because Kyle just came back in and they just beat the shit out of him now. So... Brian, see, that's the thing. You can pretty well predict when you're watching AEW that every match will end with a run-in, that every match, regardless whether the heel wins or loses or what happens, they're going to start kicking the shit out of them afterwards. Another 6 or 8 people, they're going to run in. You can pick it before you even see the show. As a matter of fact, I wonder if our friends at Prize Picks have started offering options on AEW. Will the particular wrestler you pick go through 3